and she's going to talk to us about the 3 top ways to help your teen get a job. And Angela typically works with high school and college students, helping them with either internships or getting their first job, or just getting a job out of college or out of college. So Angela, how are you doing today?
I am wonderful. I hope you are as well.
Yes, yeah. So talk to us a little bit about getting a job. What's the first thing that you work on with students?
A lot of times, students aren't prepared for getting a job because coming out of high school or even college, they don't have the mindset that they have to have a job. So
Yeah.
I work with them trying to get their mindset right so that they will be able to go get a job the right way and be able to keep that job. A lot of them have the mentality that I got a job, I don't like it, so I'm leaving. And then they go to another job and do the exact same thing, which is not good on a resume. So, one thing that I teach them is I show them the basics of a resume and how to create a resume, how to make that resume stand out, what to include on the resume, and as well as teaching them the interview process. Once you get the call on the interview process, you got to know how to be able to do the interview process and make sure that you stand out. And then I help them with their time management and being able to set up time for the interviews, being able to set times to be able to even do resumes and time managing, going to work on time, getting there on time, as well as making their day productive.
Okay, well, you actually gave a bonus way to help your teen. But that's awesome. You gave us 4, and I'd like to go back and pick these apart a little bit because there was a lot in there. Um,
Mhm.
I love that you talked about mindset because
Mhm.
it is interesting. It's a different age, right? I mean, you think
Yes.
back when I was young. We're going to do that thing when I was young. But I mean, even out of college, we were just happy to get a job that somebody wanted to pay us, right?
Yes. Yes.
And it
Correct.
wasn't this, well, it got hard, so I quit. You just kind of got through it. So,
Right.
yeah, so talk to us about how you work with teens to kind of get past that mindset.
One way that I first of all let them know that whatever they want, they can achieve. But they have to begin with positive affirmations. If they believe in themselves, then whatever goals they set for, they can believe in the goals, regardless of what other people may say, regardless of what the situations may come in their life that may prolong it for them. They have to have a mindset that they can do it no matter what. And so, when I show them how to turn the negative into the positive.
Do you have like one kind of go-to thing that you can like shed light for parents that they might be able to say to their kiddo to help change their mindset?
The main thing that I relate that to as a relating from parent to student is whatever happened in one situation with the parent, whether they didn't start off with having a college
Mhm.
education, that doesn't mean that student can't have that college education. They can have the college education and more. So the communication is definitely a situation where you have to be able to communicate with your child to know where their mindset is. Are they stuck, or are they just dealing with life in general, or do they really have an issue, whether it's mental issue or they had a situation that changed the mindset. So with parents, they have to know how that mindset is acting from one stage to the next in order to
Yeah.
help that student.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say is really just being open to not only having the communication, but open to letting your kids know that they
Mhm.
they can do it, right? That they have the
That's
capability. Yeah.
that's
And I'll tell you,
correct.
so Angela, when I'm working with my students, I do the Clifton Strengths Assessment. And
Mhm.
it's kind of the same thing in that it gives them the language to explain why they're good at the things they're good at.
Mhm.
And that might be another way that, that we can help students
Mhm.
really figure that out, that they really do have something to share with the world. So, yeah, I love that our paths are kind of crossing over on what we do, because that is kind of
Yeah.
a mindset thing that I'm doing as well.
Mhm.
So then you also talked about the resume basics. Now, I got to tell you, I was just helping my oldest son
Um,
put his resume together. And before I go there, anybody that's watching live and you've got questions for Angela on how to help your kiddo get a job, get his resume together, all that, please chime in. If you're watching this later, ask us questions as well, because both Angela and I will chime in on Facebook or on YouTube and answer the questions that you have. So I was helping my son Chris
mhm.
with his resume. So he's graduating from college and he's applying for an internship. And
Mhm.
they don't have a ton of experience to put down, or they've done what you said and they had a lot of jobs. So talk to me about, I want to
Mhm.
make sure we did this right. Talk to me about what they should include at that age. Do they, I would assume they should have their GPA on there, which he did.
Mhm.
What other things do we need to know?
Any volunteer experience, a lot of times students take their volunteer experience for granted and they don't record it. They don't keep a record of it. They don't know what they've done because they don't record it. So if they take a notion to recording it, they can always look back and say, I volunteer here. So it doesn't even matter if it was just a one-time volunteer. That's your experience as well. Because
Sure.
even volunteering, you learn to communicate with the volunteer. You learn to stand out. If you are a person who goes in as a volunteer that never done something and now you've learned how to do it, that's a skill that you can capitalize on. As well as any type of organization that you may become a leadership role in, if you were a president, vice president, and even if you volunteered in that organization, you can still use that as an experience. And because a lot of times the students will get the experience just from the volunteering session. They don't have anything to work with. Anything that they've used during their college time that they participated in, like sororities, that kind of stuff, they can also put that down as well on the resume.
And I would say too, in college, the statistics also talk about the fact that it's so important for kids to get involved in college. And it doesn't have to be one particular thing. It doesn't have to be student government, and all that. It could be your sorority, fraternity. It could be recreational type stuff.
Mhm.
Just showing that you were involved, like you did stuff in college other than sit in your dorm room and play games. I,
Right, right.
yeah, is that important stuff to put down too? You did say sorority and fraternity, but how about the other stuff?
Yes, definitely club stuff. Because even with the club stuff, they do volunteer work within
Mhm.
clubs. They do give you an opportunity to start a organization within, and then you can capitalize as well on those. Because a lot of times students get into clubs and they don't even know what it's about and they don't participate. It's better if you participate in it to grab a hold of the importance of that particular organization.
Yeah, and I would also, I would think too, it'd probably be more important to have a club that you were in a long time versus having 20 different clubs that you just were, right?
Yes, yes, because people know when you're just trying to fill up your resume with stuff. And how do they connect is very important because if you've got basketball over here, you got fishing over here, then you got debate over here. All of these, do they connect? What way do they connect? How is it helping you get what you need to get as far as, a job? So a lot of times they'll put down 10, 20 different things. And it's just important to put down what's related to the job that you are going after of.
Okay. All
Mhm.
right. And then let me see. So if anybody's listening, if you have any questions for Angela around interviewing, resumes, getting a job, please put it in the chat. We'll be glad to answer those questions for you live. So Angela, then you also talk about the interview process. What are
Yeah.
some important things to kind of arm our kids with? And that's funny that this is coming up today because I just talked to my youngest 2 days ago, helping him interview for a job that he was really excited about. And,
Mhm.
it's so funny. He kind of went in with a little bit, at least when he was talking to me, with this laissez faire, like,
Mhm.
yeah, I know what I'm doing, mom. And I was like, okay, well, that may be true, but let's talk through it. You
That's
know,
correct.
tell us some of your secrets that you tell them so that we can make sure to share those with our kiddos.
The number one thing is to show up. And a lot of times they will make an appointment for an interview and they never show up. They never have the courtesy to call the HR manager and say, hey, something has come up and I can't come to this interview. Can I reschedule? Or they find something else that they want to go interview for and they just don't have that common courtesy. So if you ever have to go back to that particular place for a job, they already know that you didn't show up. They're not even going
Go
to.
figure.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. And show up on time. Early is better. And I tell them, make sure you at least show up 30 minutes because you never know what happens. You can have some tragedy that happens or um, traffic jam. You get out of the car and you waste coffee on yourself, something like that. You just never know. So showing up on time, and then you just don't know if you can find the place where you're going to have the interview.
Oh, right. Yeah. I think
Yeah,
I've done that personally, right? Where you're like, okay, give myself an extra 20 minutes to make sure I
correct.
know where this office is, or go, even drive there the day before and check it out,
That's correct. That's
Yeah.
correct. Yeah.
There's that saying, it's to be early is to be on time, and to be on time is to be late. And I
Yes.
do think that's a huge thing, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. It is. Yes. And then
Yeah.
it also gives you a chance to calm down because interviewing isn't a lot of nervousness because you just don't know what to expect. It could be simple. It could be something that's going to be okay. Show me how to do this. Show me how to do that. You just never know. But just getting yourself that extra few minutes to calm down and be able to get your composure is also important. And also with interviewing, knowing how to dress.
Mm,
A lot of times you see, young ladies, they may have a lot of cleavage showing. And how can the interviewer concentrate if they're looking at your cleavage?
right.
Um, and then the young men's, they may come with their pants maybe hanging down. Nobody wants to see that. And then if you're going into the office with it, you can't follow because you're pulling up your pants.
Right. Yeah. Well, and even dressing up, Angela,
Yes,
there
yes.
really, how often does a kid dress up anymore?
Right. Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't. And it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be, Sunday morning church service attire, just as long as you have a collar shirt, uh, something that buttons up, you can have some khaki pants, or even the girls can have dress pants, just something that, that's going to be presentable to them.
Yeah, well, and I'll tell you, even in the corporate environment, I've ran marketing departments for 25 plus years.
Mhm.
When I'd be interviewing, I would actually ask them, like, let's say you're going in on a Friday and they have casual Friday, and you're walking in a suit, you know,
Mhm.
I always ask them, I'm like, well, if
Is it?
on a Friday, are you guys dressing up? Just let me know. So I
Yeah.
asked the question.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah,
It doesn't hurt to call ahead or ask them, like I said, what is the best attire? What do you expect, to me to be wearing?
right. Because you want to look like you fit in. That's part of the
Yeah.
interview, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the last thing is time management.
Time management. I hear this so much. I have plenty of time to do it. I do it. It's due 2 hours from now. I'm still gonna do it.
Yeah,
So a lot of the students just think they have so much time, but they definitely don't because you just, as well, again, you never know what may happen in between time.
right.
So the keys to that is prioritizing what needs to get done first, what's important, what's a time waster, and if it's a time waster, just completely not even do it.
So
And
as parents of teenagers, and we all run into this,
mhm.
what is a good tip for them to help their teens with time management?
setting a goal on whatever they have to do.
Okay.
How long is it going to take them to do it? When are they going to start on that goal? What are they going to go do in between those goals? Because you can set a goal and never act on it.
So it goes
So,
back to that first thing you talked about, which is communication and just having the conversations around these
mhm.
topics.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
And then, parents can hold the students accountable for if you set that goal, we've communicated that you have that goal, and I'm going to help you achieve that goal. So I have to hold you accountable on that goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
and yeah, and that's more work on us as
yeah.
is usual, right? But you're right.
Yeah.
If you inspect what you expect, and that's
Hmm.
something that we got to keep in mind, right?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct. That's correct.
Awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, Angela, it was great having you on. We are at,
Yeah.
golden time to start shutting things down.
Mhm.
I appreciate it. For those of you that have been listening, Angela has a company called Journey Changers, which I love that name.
Mhm.
Um, that she actually helps students do this. So if you don't feel like it's something that you want to help your student with one-on-one, you've got a resource to reach out to. And Angela's website is listed on the crawler below us. So definitely take advantage of that. And then again, if you are watching this after the fact, please send questions and we'll be happy to answer anything that you've got.
Mhm.
Okay. Thanks, Angela.